Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler out in California. See, Ziggy, that time I remembered the no longer at Harvard, which it gets tough when after years of University of Virginia, up at Harvard, out in California. I mean, you're all over the world over the course of this show, literally in different parts of the country, right? So,
different parts of the world.
Different parts of the world. Cambodia at times. I mean, I think have you done one from Europe as well?
I did Iceland.
I've
been all over, man.
You are well traveled. You cannot argue against that. I am watching, Ziggy. Once again, I have Brazil, Scotland on in the World Cup here as my cousin.
See, but that's understandable because I want to see Scotland kick Brazil's ass.
Of course, we all do. My cousin Alan's from Scotland. Actually, Alan was the first advertiser in the history of our show. Do you remember that?
Unfortunately.
Yep. Alan bought an ad read for himself for $1 back in the first year. I believe the first year with the studio at Zach's grandma's basement, Alan bought a $1 ad read about how awesome he is, which was, I have to say, pretty good bang for your buck if people go back and watch our old episodes ever, which we have had people go back and comment on old episodes. I'm not sure which one that was, but maybe if you use, the transcript or something, you can find the Alan Farrington advertisement from back in the day. So anyway, Scotland and Brazil, 1-0 Brazil right now. Hopefully Scotland comes back to tie it. Today will be a mailbag episode. Really excited for that. We hit the mailbag towards the end of the last episode, but we really wanted to dive into one a little bit more today, answer some more questions, give people some more time to submit their questions or comments for the show. So we have a lot of them here. Ziggy, you ready to dive into it?
And we got a lot of great questions. I'm looking forward to this one.
We do, and they touch on a lot of different subjects.
I do have to say, before we get into the mailbag, I just want to say shout out to all the people hating on Paul in the comments for being a loser and not doing things in Chicago. We got so many comments, after you talked last show about how you were in Chicago with nothing to do. People saying, grow up, go be uncomfortable, go make a friend. I appreciate that our fans telling you to grow up already.
This is going to come off the wrong way. I don't really feel much of a need to go out and make new friends, Ziggy. Is there something wrong with that?
You want to just sit at home all day, being alone, watching the World Cup on a lawn chair?
Well, no longer a lawn chair. I now have a beanbag chair from one of my friends in Chicago. I have a lot of friends out here in Chicago. I just don't feel a real desire to go out and form new friendships right now. I have enough friends. I feel pretty good with the friends that I have, but maybe I should go out and experience Chicago a little bit more instead of sitting inside waiting for my couch to arrive. Yes,
just
I'm going to go out.
Keep hating on Paul in the comments. That's what I'm saying. We can get some Paul hate down below. I'd be
I am just festering the hatred right now. I got a lot of things to set up here. But no, I do plan on exploring Chicago. Well, I'm waiting for the couch, but today, I don't know if you can see, a little brighter today. Got the light set up for the studio set up here.
Oh, you turned on a light. That's what you did.
I had to plug it in too. Had to find another USB-A port.
You have a tough life, man. I don't know how you can handle all these responsibilities.
All right. James Library says, and by the way, James Library, a member, in most of our mailbag segments that we'll do, we'll have to reduce the questions. So if you're a member, you automatically will have your question read. You can become a member by going over to the channel homepage and signing up. It's like I think it's $5 a month or something like that. You get access to a lot of the competitions that we do during the season and the off season, such as March Madness. Our buddy Aiden Cook, Aiden, who won, I believe Aiden won. I can't remember which of the March Madness contests he won, but it was the member one, right? And so what's great about the member tournaments are there's not a lot of people playing, so you have a real chance of winning. Aiden just got a Michael Strahan Giants jersey after winning our tournament. So yeah, sign up for that. You'll always have your questions read. Today's a little bit lighter on the responses, so everyone's questions, I believe, should get in here. But James Library, who is a member, says, it's great to have you guys back. When you're looking at an offense, would you rather have a top 5 offensive line and an average skill position player group, or an average offensive line and a top 5 skill position group? Keep up the amazing work. Ziggy, I'll let you take first stab at this.
I mean, we got to see the answer last year of the Cleveland Browns, who had an unbelievable offensive line and average skill position group and basically no offense. You never want to have a terrible offensive line. Like, if the offensive line is really bad, you're going to have problems. But as long as they can do the job and buy the quarterback sometime, so your guy's not getting blown up every single play like we've seen in Cincinnati, you can get by with just an average offensive line, average run blocking, and then let your skill position players go absolutely wild.
Yeah, I think the important distinction with this question was exactly that word, having an average one. If you gave me the option of would you rather have an elite offensive line and bad skill position players or great skill position players and a bad offensive line, I would actually take the offensive line there, because I do think that, you've seen teams, everyone here is rooted for a team where you get some injuries up front, it blows everything up. I mean, I'm just thinking back to the Vikings when, week 2 against the Falcons last year, we're on our second, third string tackles, and JJ McCarthy, who had his hands full enough as is dealing with backups along the offensive line. It's a disaster. But if you're going to give an average unit, then yes, I'd take the average offensive line with the elite skill players that you can't really replicate anywhere else in the game. Just a couple interesting, just some fun facts I thought, Ziggy. Run blocking, the top 5 teams in the league last year, just to sort of show, offensive line importance, which a lot of people who are not big time football fans can overlook the importance of the O-line. People who, live and die football the way we do, a lot of our listeners do, you come to understand just how important that group is. Top 5 run blocking teams last year: Rams, Ravens, Bills, Bears, Broncos. 4 of the 5 playoff teams. Ravens a missed kick away from getting in. Bottom 5 run blocking: Raiders, Browns, Chargers, Texans, Saints. Only 2 of the 5 there, and the other 3, Browns and Raiders, 2 of the worst teams in football. Pass blocking, top 5: Steelers, Rams, Bears, Niners, Seahawks. All playoff teams. Bottom 5, Chargers again. Really goes to show you, right, with Justin Herbert.
It was tough last year.
If you're a Justin Herbert fan, those are some numbers that you could use in your support. But Chargers, Browns, Jets, Ravens, Giants. Again, only 1 playoff team there. Baltimore could have been. So, yeah, great question. With an average unit, though, I'll take the skill position players. Aaron 399. Great to have you guys back. A lot of people seem to think that I wish producer Zach was here. A lot of people seem to think that the Dolphins will have the worst record this year. But personally, I see there being a greater chance the Cardinals have a winless record. Your thoughts? Ziggy?
Well, there's a winless record, and then there's having the worst record in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I actually think if the Cardinals can get Jacoby Brissett back in the building, I'm more confident in Jacoby than Malik Willis.
Careful,
I'm more confident in the Cardinals.
The audience.
I'm more confident in the Cardinals' skill position players than the Dolphins, because at least the Cardinals have Trey McBride. I'm not really confident.
Just Trey McBride. What about Jeremiah Love, man?
Oh yeah, I guess Jeremiah Love and Marvin Harrison Jr. Like the Cardinals, if they can keep Jacoby Brissett and he can play okay, the defense will be terrible. But I actually can see the Cardinals winning 5 or 6 games. They're mostly screwed by the division. If you're not really high on Malik Willis, or if you're high on Malik Willis and just think that with one of the worst offensive lines, one of the worst skill position groups, and one of the worst defenses in the NFL, he might look worse, it's going to be very difficult for the Dolphins to do much next year.
Yeah, I can see the argument with Arizona being the worst team in football next year, and they have a chance, right? I mean, the Cardinals do have a chance of being one of the worst, arguably the worst team. But with McBride, with Love, Harrison, we'll see if he steps up.
And he was okay.
Is Michael Wilson?
Yeah, I'd take
like
both of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'd take both of those guys over the Dolphins players of Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, and Tutu Atwell.
Oh, 100%. And you can argue Jeremiah Love over Achane, which is that is an argument too. I know we haven't seen Love play yet, but Jacoby Brissett played well in that offense last year. The offense wasn't the main problem. It was the defense. The problem for the Dolphins supporters in this argument here, the Dolphins arguably have a worse defense than the Cardinals. And the Cardinals have, if not the worst, the second worst. Then these are the 2 worst defenses in football right now. For the Dolphins, outside of Jordan Brooks at linebacker, I like Jacob Rodriguez coming in the draft. He was a beast at Texas Tech. The linebacking unit should be interesting, at least for Miami. But up front, Bradley Chubb's no longer there. Jalen Phillips is no longer there. And the secondary has not many, if any, bright spots at all either. So when no pass rush combined with the secondary in shambles, it's just hard to find a lot of bright spots on the Dolphins. Now, that's not saying the Cardinals have a ton, but Josh Sweat did have the best season of his career last year, or best sack number wise season of his career. Walter Nolan, you could build around a little bit. You got Budda Baker. There are more pieces there in Arizona, I believe. at the moment. So, well, it's neither one's an encouraging position to be in. But if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably say the Dolphins are.
At least the Dolphins get to play the Jets twice.
Yeah, that's if you're going to make the argument about record, the Dolphins do get the Jets twice compared to the Cardinals, who have SF, Seattle, and the Rams, which you have to imagine are going to be 6 losses. Michael Murill says, over the past 10 years, each team in the this is a fun question. Over the past 10 years, each team in the NFC North have made trades that were difference makers. What has been the best trade for all 4 NFC North teams over the past 10 years? I'll share mine with you guys after watching your mailbag to see if we have the same answer. As always, great seeing your content back, guys. Looking forward to the season. Ziggy, I feel like, am I really dark? Like, does it look really dark?
It's pretty dark. You were talking about how you fixed the light and got things plugged in, but it's darker than it was before.
Let me see. Maybe.
This is rough.
A little natural light. Oh God, that's
that might have made it worse.
Now. That has to make it worse right there. I'm just gonna move it back. We'll roll. We'll roll with it like this. We'll fix it eventually. Okay, so
I think we can both agree what the most important trade for Detroit was over the past 10 years. It's not close.
I actually think it's pretty easy across the board here for all the teams.
I think we're going to disagree on a couple of these teams. So let's start with Detroit, because Detroit's got to be the easiest. It has to be most impactful trading for Jared Goff.
Yeah, well, here's where we need to be a little careful with this is within some of these trades, there are more trades. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like within the Goff trade, I believe that they also packaged some of those picks to move up for Jameson Williams.
And they got Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. Well, the Jared Goff trade. So the Rams got Stafford. The Lions received Goff. They received a third in 2021, which turned into Melifonwu. First in 2022, which they used in a package to move up for Jameson Williams with the Vikings. And they got Josh Pascal as part of that package. Then a first in 2023 was 6th overall. They moved back to 12, got Jahmyr Gibbs. Part of that package also got Laporta and Broderick Martin. So
just the entire team.
Collectively there in the Stafford trade, along with other moves, they bring back Goff, Jameson Williams, Gibbs, Laporta, the big names there. Which is just, as you said, that's the foundation of who the Lions are right now. So you can't pick any other trade than the Jared Goff one. But you see what I'm saying? Where there's the problem.
Yeah, well, and he wasn't asking about players, but I just meant that trade, and I'm not worried about secondary effects.
You could zoom into that and say, hey, the trade back from 6 to 12, getting Gibbs, getting the pick that turned into Laporta, like that is a great trade in and of itself too. But all that stems from the Jared Goff trade. So that's the pick for the Lions. All right, let's see who you got.
It's got to be the same thing for Chicago with the Bryce Young, Caleb Williams trade.
Without a doubt. Yeah, Caleb Williams is. And that's even
Caleb Williams, they got the pick for Luther Burden. They got DJ Moore, who they got some production out of. Darnell Wright, who's one of the best tackles in the NFC North.
Yep, absolutely. It's not even close for the Bears. It's the Caleb Williams trade. Who do you have for Green Bay?
A lot of people are going to be putting the Micah Parsons trade here, and I can understand why. For me, I think, though, it has to be the Jordan Love trade. I think a lot of people forget that was a trade from Green Bay, that they moved up to get him. But that was the foundation for them moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Most teams, and I don't just say that because, ended up being important, they had Jordan Love. He was great for them, and it is very rare that you move off a Hall of Fame quarterback and immediately go on a playoff run with your new guy.
Yep.
Getting Jordan Love was important. He's been very, very good. I think that actually is probably more impactful than the Micah Parsons trade, at least from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I put down Micah. I actually forgot that Jordan was a trade up too. Position-wise, obviously the QB is the most important one, so I don't dislike that at all.
And they nailed the pick. Yeah,
they nailed the pick. You have to do. That's another thing with some of these trades that we're going over. You have to nail the pick, right? We'll see with the Viking one in a second here. Getting the pick right is half the battle. I don't hate the Jordan Love one at all. I did put Micah Parsons, though, and that's one that we're going to need to see play out a little bit more because as it stands right now, you got, 3/4 of a season with Micah, 2/3 of a season with Micah Parsons.
Pretty good 2/3 of a season.
Great 2/3 of the season. And you gave up a lot. You gave up Kenny Clark and 2 firsts, but in the grand scheme of it, I bet that won't look too bad. we're talking about arguably the best defensive player in the league in the prime, second after Myles Garrett, in the prime of his career. This should continue to age well. And for the Vikings, I went with the Stephon Diggs trade, which turned into Justin Jefferson.
I mean, it was unbelievably lucky that trade ended up getting us Justin Jefferson.
It's one of the few trades along the NFC North has had a few trades now where it truly has worked out about as well as you could imagine for both sides. The Goff Stafford trade, I don't think anyone's complaining there. And the Bills Justin Jefferson trade, they got some elite years out of Stephon Diggs, and the Vikings, one of those picks the Vikings got back in addition to Jefferson turned into Cam Bynum, who was a hell of a safety for a couple of years before he went over to the Colts. But yeah, the Jefferson trade is the pick for the Vikings as well.
Yeah.
If you go,
I'm glad that he didn't ask most impactful, because most impactful, well, I can think of two trades that have had a higher impact on the current Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, there's
the trade
question
up
later
for
on.
JJ,
yeah.
And there's the trade down for the player who shall not be named.
Well, yeah, there's been a couple bad Vikings trades in there as well.
Don't forget the Yannick Ngakoue trade either, if you remember that.
Of course, that was also horrible.
Or we're not 10 years removed from the Sam Bradford trade. There's been a lot of bad ones for us.
That one with Sam getting hurt, though, I don't blame them for being aggressive. They felt like they had a team that could compete. And look, with Bradford at one point, I believe they were 5-0. Another good one going way back, though, extends beyond 10 years. Jared Allen was an awesome trade back in 2008.
Oh, yeah.
To lead into the 2009 Super Bowl push. We don't need to talk about the rest of that season. From Wisco Dude, he says, apparently all the other soccer teams have nicknames. Any thoughts on sleeping giants for US? Happy you guys are back. The US sleeping giants. Does that resonate with you?
Well, the sleeping giants, of course, is a nickname that's been applied to the United States before. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you know about Admiral Yamamoto. I'm sure you've heard that quote before. But setting that aside, no, because we're not giants. We're like the sleeping 6'3", 220, relatively athletic D1 athletes. That's what I would call us. Like, we're pretty good.
Giants. I think sleeping giants is good. I love reading the articles. I love reading the articles where it's like, and I buy into it totally, right? Where it's along the lines of don't let the U.S. discover soccer, that kind of a thing. Like I'll feed into that, even though I know where we stand in the soccer world. Mick Q says, "What he's got two questions here. What is the Utah Jazz's ceiling this upcoming year? Play-in team, 1 seed." After last night you get Darren Peterson. I don't know a lot about the Jazz. I'm not going to lie. I didn't do a lot of research into the Jazz. I know they won 22 games last year. They were terrible. Darren Peterson is someone who I believe, as Nick put it on our show, a lot of yellow flags that combine to make one red flag for him. Got all the skills in the world, but just throughout last season at Kansas, there were so many times where you wanted more from him, and it just felt like there were a lot of excuses and a lot of unexplained moments that just left you kind of like, what's wrong with this kid? So hopefully he figures it out, because he's got a great skill set and he's fun to watch, but at least there's some reason for optimism.
Yeah, I mean, this Jazz team, I think, has a lot more talent than what we saw last year. Like, Lauri Markkanen is still a good player. Jaren Jackson Jr. can be effective. Ace Bailey improved a lot throughout the year. Even like Keontae George improved throughout the year. There is a lot of talent on this team.
I like all those guys too.
Like, I'm not sure what the ceiling is. I expect the Jazz to make the playoffs next year. I'm not talking play-ins. They will. Well,
in the NBA, everyone makes the. Yeah. Oh, okay. You say playoffs though. So
yeah, I think they'll probably be in the play-in. I think they'll get in as the 7 or 8 seed and lose in the first round. But if they don't make the playoffs next year and play at least 5 games, it's a disappointment.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much NBA over the course of this show, but whenever we do, I make it clear there are just way too many teams that get in. Leave it at 8. We don't need. This doesn't need to be. Everyone doesn't need to make the.
There are only 8 teams that get in.
Well, there are 10. There are 10.
The players are not the playoffs.
I'm very anti-playing. People get excited about it. LaMelo, I had a moment last year. I don't care. Like, if you're not one of the eight teams to me, and it's also just too long. The first round of the playoffs should be a best of 5. It does not need to be a best of 7. Like, we can chill out here. I don't need to watch 7 games of Jazz Thunder next year and watch the Thunder just beat the crap out of them. But that's my own gripes with the NBA, and that probably stems from years of PTSD working on hoops.
I mean, Paul just didn't like the incredible first round of the Eastern Conference we got this year.
It was good. Every now and then you get.
He thought this sucks.
Every now and then you get, a good series in the 1-8 or the 2-7 game matchup, but oftentimes it's just one side pummeling the other.
We had 5 good series this year in the first.
Yeah, no, this was a good year. This was a good year. So it's probably the wrong year to make the argument, but I'll make the same argument every year. McHugh, his second question was, why will this year be any different than the previous 2 for the Packers? Promising start, then collapse in the final month, and an early playoff exit.
Oh, well, I'll give you an easy answer. You won't have a promising start because Micah Parsons won't be there for the first half of the season. And then he'll come back and they'll look great. Right? It'll be the exact opposite for the Packers. Rather than everyone getting injured halfway through the season, the important players are going to come back from injury halfway through the season.
Yeah, the hope for you is that you don't have the injury luck of the past 2 years. 2 years ago, Jordan Love's battling injuries all year. Last season, Love again gets banged up, but then everyone that mattered was hurt for you guys, essentially. So if you don't have those injuries, you saw at times the Packers looked like the best team in football. And unfortunately for them, they were just ravaged. And by the end of the year, you had a lot of second string guys playing. You still almost beat the Bears. You still had the 21-3 halftime lead. So that's your hope. Nathan says...
there's one more thing to say. If anybody here, I know we have some fans in Green Bay. If any of you guys know Ben Malcor, I've been hearing some rumors that Tucker Kraft, in line for a big extension, just listed his house on Rebecca Ann Drive with Ben Malcor. So if you know him, reach out. Let us know in the comments what's going on, because I want to know why Tucker Kraft is selling his house in Green Bay.
I had to try that. Does that look a little bit better for there? I think that looks better.
You just missed my unbelievable insider knowledge that I've got.
Well, I heard it. I heard it in my ear right there. Yeah, Tucker Kraft is leaving. The next question from Nathan. He says, not football, and I'm imagining a lot of this looks way better. I'm imagining a lot of listeners of this show are Milwaukee Bucks fans. Thoughts on the Giannis trade? Very sad to see a legendary player leave, but I'm excited for the future. And I think the Bucks got pretty much everything they could in return from Miami. Have you been up to date with the Giannis trade?
Yeah, so I have 2 thoughts. First of all, I just have to say, it can't be a coincidence that we launched the hit segment on the Paul Farrington show. If we weren't a football show, where we talk about sports around the world, and everyone's excited, and we get huge reaction. And then our friends over at Pack-A-Day do a Giannis show. This can't be a coincidence. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, you see good business, you copy good business. The Giannis trade is too big for the. If you're a Milwaukee, Green Bay, if you're a Wisconsin sports show, you have to cover the Giannis trade. No, you just have to. You just have to.
Yeah, and whatever return they got, I think they got as much as they could have, given Giannis and what he is. This relationship had just run its course.
Yep.
I don't think Giannis is going to see a lot of success in Miami. I don't think this Miami team is very good. I think he's going to get a rude awakening when Miami refuses to do all the bending over backwards that Milwaukee did for him. Now, Milwaukee fell short too, but this just turned toxic a couple of years ago. Then they brought in Doc Rivers to make it untoxic, which is one of the worst things you can do in basketball. When things are bad, you don't bring in the doctor. You bring in literally anybody else. They got a good return. They'll get some draft picks. I think this was better than taking the Jaylen Brown deal from the Celtics. I liked it more. Tyler Herro, I think they're going to flip this summer for something or another. The Bucks will suck for a few years, but you got your championship. That's as much as you can ask for. Take it from me. I'm a Trailblazers fan. We gave up on Damian Lillard, except we didn't even get a ring.
Yeah, from the Heat perspective, I don't view them, in a dangerous light. Look, I'm a Knicks fan, right? We all know that. I'm not worried about the Heat next season. Giannis is a great player. The package of Hero and Jaquez and all the picks they got, it was a solid haul for Milwaukee. Now, the team that I really have the most problems with in this whole ordeal is the Celtics. If it's true that they offered Jaylen Brown 2 firsts, and then the breaking point of the deal was not incorporating Hugo Gonzalez or Baylor Shireman or one of those guys, I think it's batshit crazy from Boston to not go all in there. If you put Giannis and Tatum together, immediately that is a duo championship worthy. We know that Tatum and Brown were. What could Tatum and Giannis be? Probably the best duo in basketball. And I mean, they'd be the favorites. If they're not the favorites right now in the Eastern Conference, they'd absolutely be the favorites with Giannis. To have Hugo Gonzalez, if this is true, if it is Hugo Gonzalez as the critical piece here that had the Celtics saying no, I think it's baffling.
Well,
and
so
maybe I'll be wrong in 5 years, but I mean, I would have traded Hugo Gonzalez. I just had never mind. Go ahead.
Well, also the reporting wasn't that it was like that the Bucks asked for one of those guys. They asked for Jaylen Brown, Hugo, Shireman, and 3 unprotected first-round picks.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll try.
That was way more than Miami offered. And no, I'm not going to give up 5 or 6 years of draft picks for Giannis. That's a terrible idea.
Wait, I'm sorry. 3 additional picks?
They wanted 3 first-round picks plus Hugo plus Baylor. Even if you negotiate that down to 2 first-round picks, that's 4 first-round picks you're trading for Giannis plus Jaylen Brown. That's too much.
I would trade Hugo and Baylor Shireman and the 2 picks and Jaylen Brown. Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman are not the guys that are stopping me from getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's just not for me. Maybe that's why I'm not a GM in the NBA. But if you were a Celtics fan right now, and I were the GM, you'd be celebrating Giannis coming over. And I promise you this. Next year, come March and April, you will not be thinking about Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman. Baylor Shireman was a really fun player to watch back at Creighton back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, what you'll probably be thinking about is Giannis's calf strain.
Come April basketball, I want Giannis on the court. And
well,
now
he probably won't
Celtics
because he's been hurt every year.
And now the Celtics are also in a tough position because what do you do with Jaylen Brown? Can you bring Jaylen Brown back after? Probably not. After he's been so vocal about this being the best year of his life with Jason Tatum out, trade rumors constantly. Now they're trying to trade him. Like reportedly, it's confirmed. So is Jaylen Brown going to be back in Boston? I'm not sure how many guys you can trade him for that would be better than Giannis coming back to make you a better team. So I don't know. The Celtics, to me, botched the situation, and I'm not sure what it's going to look like a couple months from now. We can move on. Seabass the scumbag. Is Giannis... Oh, this was just a follow-up. Is Giannis following Malik Willis to Miami? Because everyone wants to go to Miami now that Malik Willis is there. Mercury Road. Will the Indiana Bears finally be motivation for Indiana to have their entire state in the Eastern time zone so that the Bears fans can experience the closing moments of their 8 home losses twice? So it's going to get real funny if the Bears officially move to Indiana.
It's going to happen.
I don't know if I'm there yet. I know that it's looking like it, but I'm not sure I truly believe. I actually drove yesterday, Ziggy. I drove out to, I'm going to get a lot of shit in the comments for this. I actually drove out to Notre Dame. I finished work early, and it's just been a long time. It'd been a long time since I'd been on campus for anything other than a football game. So I drove out to campus, which looked great. Sunny day. It's so much fun walking around there. I'll probably do it again at some point. Went to the grotto, hit up the Basilica. And on the drive out, I entered Hammond. That's where I got gas. And Hammond's it's a far drive out to Hammond, Indiana. Like that would be a real pain in the ass if you're a fan living in Chicago to get out there. So I totally get beyond the name. Beyond not being in Chicago and being the Chicago Bears, I can see a lot of the motivation behind anti movement due to just the travel. It took a long time to get into Hammond, so I get it, Bears fans. Okay, this is gonna be good. I think this is a meaty 2 questions here. Contra Poston says, will Jared Goff be called a Drew Petzing merchant after leading a top 5 scoring offense for the 5th year in the row? We'll couple that on with Hawkman, who says, a little bit of a long comment here, but I'll read it. You got to explain why people don't think Goff is the best QB in the division. He beats Caleb and Love in essentially every stat every year. He's never injured. People cry, but he chokes in the big moments in the playoffs. Meanwhile, he's 5-5 in playoffs in his career and has made both a Super Bowl and a conference championship. Caleb is 1-1 in the playoffs and has made neither of those things. And Love is 1-3 in the playoffs and has also made neither of those things. I'm sick of the disrespect. What would he even have to do to get a single MVP vote? Throw 60 touchdowns with 6,000 yards? Even then, I bet he still gets snubbed. Ziggy, you've come to Jared Goff's defense quite often on this show in the past. Do you agree with our two comments here?
Well, I'll tell you this, Jared Goff is not going to get an MVP vote this season for the simple reason that he's shown that he can put up top 5 production in the NFL. This doesn't get him any attention. I'm not sure what it would take for him to get one. I'm not sure anything would at this point. There's no doubt in my mind either that Jared Goff's going to be the most productive quarterback in the NFC North this year. And that's a large part of why I have the Lions winning the division. You don't have to tell me that Jared Goff is the most productive quarterback in the NFC North because he is every single year. He's going to throw for 4,500 yards again. He's going to throw for 35 touchdowns. He's going to throw for 7 or 8 interceptions. He's going to lead a top 5 offense in the NFL, this time with a functional offensive line. And he's not going to get any respect. Now, I think the gap between Jared Goff and the other quarterbacks in the NFC North, 2 of them anyway, is going to close this year. Not entirely, but I do think Jordan Love and Caleb Williams continue to get better, whereas Jared Goff just stays at a high level. But yeah, I think he's the best quarterback in the NFC North. I've said it for a while. I'll continue saying it. He's the only one who we've seen be consistent season in and season out. It makes it tough to bet against the guy from my perspective. And I think people really undervalue the consistency he brings to Detroit.
Yeah, no, they do. People do. And I've definitely been there before as well. I have him right towards the end, if not just outside of the top 10 quarterbacks in football. He's great. I mean, Jared Goff he's been nothing short of awesome since going to Detroit. Would you take him? So you would take him going into this year, starting a team, you'd take him over Caleb and Jordan Love?
If we're talking about next year, Jared Goff is the guy who's most likely to be good next year because he's been consistently great every year but one since 2017.
Sure, but he would be your pick. If I'm giving you those 3 quarterbacks and I said you get to pick one to lead your team next year, who are you taking?
Yeah, if I want the best outcome, Jared Goff will likely give you the best outcome.
Yeah, see, I would take the other guy. I would take both the other guys over Goff. It's not, in a landslide, I have to think about it. But by the end of last season, I thought the growth in Caleb Williams was astronomical compared to where he was at the end of his rookie season. And I think he's only going to get better in year 2 with Ben Johnson. And then Jordan Love, I know a lot of people will get upset if you point to how great he was the end of 2023. That's a long time ago at this point. I thought the playoff game in Chicago was just a perfect example of why you believe in Jordan Love. Goes in, he's been hurt.
The first half or the second half?
The first half. And I mean, even in the second half.
But this is the point, right? Jared Goff is consistent in a way that the other NFC North quarterbacks haven't.
Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, Jared, he had a second half of the NFC Championship game against San Francisco, the Commanders game. There are moments that you can point to for any quarterback. That's why I think Lions fans get upset. Every quarterback has moments where you say, hey, he wasn't his best there. I don't think Jared Goff is a choker. That's not how I classify him. But what I was saying about Jordan Love is even in that Bears game, the Packers had opportunities to put that game away. They missed a handful of field goals. I'm not putting that entirely on Jordan Love. He puts that ball on Jaden Reed at the end of the game. That could be a touchdown to win. I thought Love coming back from injury, throwing 4 touchdowns, that's a top 10 QB in football. That's a superstar. So I think both those guys just have higher ceilings than Jared Goff. Now, over the course of a year, do they have lower lows? At times, yes. I can't completely say no, though, because Jared Goff has games, the Vikings game last year. Vikings have -2 yards in the second half, and the Lions lose that football game. There's the Texans game during their 1-seed season where the defense, I believe Goff had 3 or 4 turnovers, and the Lions found a way to win at the end. Every quarterback has ups and lows. I just believe in the potential of Love and Caleb Williams. I'd take that over Goff for next year. But he's a great quarterback, and you guys make fine points. You should not underrate Jared Goff. Zaki says, I know Jack's been watching the World Cup. With the right draw in the elimination, we could play teams worse than us till a potential semi matchup with France. Can the U.S. beat two powerhouses to win the Cup, Ziggy?
No. Next question.
Unlikely. But the draw for the U.S. to get to the quarterfinal, at least, it looks like right now would be Bosnia and then Egypt, which you'd have to feel pretty good about. And then
I think we lose to Egypt.
We'd beat Egypt. We beat Egypt. I don't know a lot about Egypt, but I do know that the United States would beat them in a soccer match. The U.S. is playing well. All right, Ziggy's shaking his head.
Paul, you do this every year. You're doing what you do with the Vikings to U.S. soccer. I'm trying to help you out here. Don't let yourself get excited. It's not worth it.
Cue the second. Knowing what you do currently about the state of the Vikings in the NFC North, this is the easiest question ever. If there was one move that you can make in hindsight in any year, what would you do to make your team better currently? This could include a trade, cut, extension, etc.
Yeah, extend Sam Darnold. That's it.
Yeah, there's no other answer. It's extend the guy who just won the Super Bowl. Period. No question about it. Seabass, I'm a sucker for cool uniforms. You got to look good to play good. Yeah, that's the remember on NFL Network with Deion Sanders. Look good, feel good, play good, pay good. The NFC North is doing rivalry uniforms this year. What elements do you hope to see incorporated with each team's uniforms? Bonus question: what uniform was your favorite last year from the rivalry uniforms?
Paul probably doesn't even realize there were rivalry uniforms last year.
Was that the Bills whiteout?
Yeah, but the best ones were obviously the Seahawks with the 12s stitched all over them.
Yeah, I don't remember that uniform at all. What elements?
It was the high decibel zone uniform. It was unbelievable. There was a sound wave from the Beast Quake. There were like 12s all over the jersey.
Seahawks rivalry uniforms. Let's see.
See, I'm glad to know that you prepared for this show, but the Seahawks rivalry uniforms were insane.
Well, I did prepare for these are fun. I still think I'd go with the Bills ice out. Didn't they play that? Was that in a snow game that they played?
Yeah, but like all white and all black jerseys are so overdone.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that is cool. I didn't know they had the sound wave from the Beastquake. That's pretty elite. Anything that I'd want to see on one of these uniforms?
I mean, I've got an answer for all of these.
Oh, go ahead. Well, you're more of a uniform guy.
The Packers, it's very easy. The Packers should do a 1937 throwback type deal. I'm sure you agree, Paul. But like we got to see the 1920s throwback last year, and I really didn't like that. The 1937 throwback is the thing to do.
The 19th, which was it 1930s or did you say 1937?
1937.
1937 Packers jerseys.
Yeah, they should be inspired by that. I'm not saying it's to look exactly the same.
These are horrible jerseys, Ziggy.
That's not the point, Paul.
They should not do anything about that.
You're a guy who wants white out and black out. You're like, ooh, the Packers are doing blackout jerseys. That's so exciting.
I'm not really a big fan of any of these alternate jerseys. I know they did.
Yeah, well, they have to get
football. The color rush, I don't really like. I'm kind of anti these ridiculous jerseys. Is that? Am I becoming like an old grab?
No, I mean you're correct, but we have to answer the question.
What features would I like to see? All right, for the Packers, I'd put cheese heads on the uniform. I'd have some incorporation of cheese in the Packers jersey.
Whatever.
And beer. I'd have cheese and beer in the Packers jerseys somehow. Maybe like as you said, you had the sound wave running down. Maybe I'd have like a stream of Miller Lite on the on the back, and you could sponsor it for the Packers. For the Bears, I would have a clashing of the Chicago and then the Chicago flag and the Indiana State flag. I'd have them merged together. For Detroit, paw prints all over the uniform. And the Vikings, I would do probably ice. Did we do that for the whiteout ones? I think we had some ice features. I'd probably have ice features on the Vikings one.
Just like the Winter Warrior one. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd
very original
one. I do like ice down the jerseys, like veins almost. Yeah, I do like that.
I'll say this about Detroit in all seriousness. I think you could do a really cool like Motown Hitsville USA jersey. Right? It's like Hitsville, there's the dual meaning.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how you're going to incorporate it, but go for it. I mean, what do you want? Like musical notes? Remember the musical battle from Doctor Strange too?
Well, I'm so tired of Detroit being tired shreds, as if there's nothing else going on.
You want like the lyrics to like respect down the side of the jersey?
Well, Jared Goff needs some.
Fair enough. That's good. Cello or CeeLo the Great? What do you think? CeLo.
It's not cello.
Well, that'd be if in Italy.
I'd go CeeLo over cello.
Well, I who knows? Maybe if he's Italian, it's cello. I'm going to guess he's Italian. Cello the Great. In the NFC North, who do you think has the best chance to win a Super Bowl right now with the current rosters, assuming everyone stays healthy?
Green Bay. Next question.
Yeah, I'll agree on the Packers. Number 2, I'd probably go Detroit, then Chicago.
Yeah.
Then
then Minnesota, then Chicago.
It's hard. I do believe in Kyler, and I think the Vikings. Are going to be a playoff. Let's see. Sorry, I thought my internet cut out. I think the Vikings are going to compete for a playoff spot and the division, actually, for what it's worth. But right now, yeah, you know what? I could push there. Our defense is going to be elite. You convince me. Demolinator. If one division could get all 4 teams into the playoffs, which one is most likely to do so? The North. I don't think it's really close. The NFC North, that is.
I'm thinking if Mendoza's good and you get a little mix up in the AFC, I think the AFC West could put all 4 teams into the playoffs.
Well, let's see who could. Or I'm sorry. Let's start with who cannot. The AFC East cannot. The AFC South,
no,
cannot. That you're relying on too much to happen there.
The AFC North, the Browns are not making.
The Browns are not going to playoffs. So let's put the West aside. Let's put the NFC North aside. Cardinals are not going to the playoffs. NFC West is out. NFC South is out, and then
NFC East is possible.
NFC East maybe. But if you're ranking the NFC East, the NFC North, and the AFC West, I'd probably put the East last with the Giants. Giants and Commanders are both. And who knows, the Cowboys, you never know what you're going to get. Then I'd put the AFC West because the Raiders, you just have to imagine the Raiders are not going to.
So
that would be a huge breakout from something.
But here's the thing is in the NFC, basically what you're saying there is only one NFC West team makes it. And I just can't see only one of the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers making it. But I can see the Patriots falling off and the Bills win the East. The AFC North beating up on each other. The AFC South sucking. I think the other 3 divisions in the AFC can go wrong enough that the AFC West would be my pick as most likely.
Yeah, I mean, another argument you could make is just that maybe the Cardinals find magic, and because you feel good about the other 3 teams getting to the playoffs, so would it be easier to just have the Cardinals break out? But no, but I
feel the same about the AFC West. I feel good about
that
the Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos making it. So yeah, I'll bet on the Raiders and the AFC sucking over the Cardinals and the NFC sucking.
Yeah, I think I'll still go NFC North. Scott Brooks, we got 3 questions left here. Scott Brooks says, "Is Caleb Williams now the face of the NFL?" Oh no, I don't. I mean, why would you think that? Maybe Madden cover. Chicago, big city team.
I don't think Caleb Williams is a top 5 face of the NFL.
I'm trying to think if he's top 10. I mean, Caleb is. There's a chance that we leave this season and Caleb Williams is in that discussion. But right now, who are your top 5 faces of the NFL at this moment?
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Stafford.
Mahomes is the number 1.
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, I think, are non-negotiable.
I mean, I think I might even put Dak over Stafford, honestly. Like I think
Stafford, I don't know, man.
Stafford won MVP. I know, but like Dak is. Yeah, as far as accomplishment, it's obviously Stafford.
Well, I feel like Dak Prescott. If you'd asked me a couple years ago, right, coming off that like Walter Payton Man of the Year, the All-Pro nod, but the past 2 years, I think Dak has been invisible.
Is there a difference in face of the NFL and popularity to you?
Not really.
Because I do think Dak is more popular than Matthew Stafford. I think Dak's more popular.
I don't think that's after the last 2 years where Dak Prescott's won 10 games and been injured 2 years. I don't think he's at that level, except that like passive boost you get being on the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I mean, that's part of it, though. I'd probably put Jalen Hurts in that conversation still.
Like, I think CeeDee Lamb is more popular than Dak Prescott right now.
No.
Yes.
Disagree. Caleb Williams, if you said, who's the face of the NFC North right now? That could be Caleb.
Yeah, probably.
Sam Darnold.
I mean, Dan Campbell
Maybe
is the face of the NFC North to me.
Dan Campbell. It might be Jefferson. Justin's the biggest.
When Justin Jefferson wins MVP this year, he'll be the face of the NFC North. Can I just say? I just have to say one thing. There was an incredibly terrible article put out by CBS Sports Today where they said 5 stars you could force a Giannis-like trade, and they just put Justin Jefferson at the top. And I appreciate that they put him ahead of such stars as Trey McBride and Garrett Wilson and Denzel Ward.
So there's really one fan base leaving this distraught.
Yeah, there's only one play. Like, people keep trying to make this happen, and it makes me sympathetic. Giannis actually wanted to leave, and it was obvious. But it makes me a little more sympathetic to Bucks fans who complained about the media trying to push Giannis out for years. Like, everybody wants Justin Jefferson to leave Minnesota, and I don't really know why.
Well, I mean, the reason
he got kind of annoyed on the sideline once.
Well, I mean, here's the reason. It's twofold. One is, yes, after last season, right, you're seeing a superstar receiver have career lows coming off a year where he was, at his peak with Sam Darnold, and the Vikings make just such a catastrophic organizational decision that it's one that you can understandably see the superstar receiver being so upset that he's done with it, right? We're not showing signs of being competitive. Well, no, let me finish real quick. Okay. That's one part of it, right? The fallout from the Darnold to McCarthy move. The second thing is the Vikings, they do have a history of superstar receiver being great, right? With the team, having a run, and then it falls apart. Randy Moss did in 1998, right? The breakout, the Vikings had their chance, gets traded to the Raiders. Percy Harvin, they have the 2009 season when he's a rookie. He's an MVP candidate midway through the 2012 season. He traded to the Seahawks. Stephon Diggs, they have their run in 2017. He gets traded to the Bills. Like, there's a history in Minnesota of star receiver gets traded. And Justin Jefferson would be the next one to fall into that line. And you could even say Justin Jefferson might not even be the biggest star receiver they'd trade because Randy Moss was as good as there's ever been in the league. So it's just something that has happened time after time again for the Vikings. So again, naturally the question would raise when you combine it with the Sam Darnold situation.
That's fine. I do not want to read another article saying Justin Jefferson is going to the Raiders by the end of the year.
Well, I really hope not. I remember when we traded Percy Harvin, I was in English class in 8th grade. And I got the notification, and not the notification. I had a sliding phone at the time. I went on ESPN. We had kind of tablets, I think. And I went on ESPN and saw Percy Harvin trade the Seahawks, and I just threw my tablet away. That you know how quarterbacks go on the bench after an interception. Like, screw that. I kind of did that. It's an upsetting day. Last thing, the Sauce Boss says, I'm sorry, Eli says, favorite offseason activity from each of the crew. Ziggy, favorite offseason activity? Oh.
You go first.
Probably packing up my things and moving a third of the way across the country. No, I enjoy going to the driving range a lot. That's a nice, I don't play on a lot of courses, but I just like getting outside and hitting some golf balls. So I'll say some golf time.
I've been enjoying golf too.
Really?
Disc golf, obviously.
I played with you before. Yeah.
It's fun. I've been hitting the range. I've been practicing the putting. I'm working on my handicap right now.
Is there a range? Is there actually a range?
Everywhere's a range.
Well, but then you have to go and walk and get your disc.
Yeah, but I live by the beach, so it's just a nice walk along the beach as I'm chucking. We got a dog too, so I can just throw these a couple 100 yards and the dog goes and gets them.
Well, there you go. That's what you need to do. Because I was thinking if there's a disc golf range where they just have, 100 discs or something come out and you throw, I'm thinking of it like a driving range for golf. I can see it getting a little frustrating if you have so many discs in your hand and you have to go, you actually have to go collect each of them. The sauce boss says sauce with a question mark, which I'm not really sure what that means, but it's I guess it's a fair question from someone named.
I mean, I've got an answer to that question, actually.
Yes.
I've been experimenting recently with some hot sauce with some ginger and carrot. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Someone turned me on this. I was at a farmer's market. I was seeing a guy selling some hot sauce and he had like ginger and carrot in it. And I'm like, that's sort of weird. So I tried making some. I took a bottle, you take some carrots, some onion, garlic, ginger, habanero, apple cider vinegar, mix it together.
Of course.
And my old roommate, John, got me some really good maple syrup. You can use to sweeten it up. Just an unbelievably good sauce. Yeah. So I highly recommend to anyone, ginger, carrot, hot sauce. Give it a go making some.
I typically say yes whenever anyone says, do you want more sauce? I'm a very pro sauce guy. So, all right.
Don't tell it's needlessly aesthetic that.
We'll wrap it up there. Ziggy, a nice little mailbag there. Another 50-minute episode in the books for us. We'll be back next week. The whole crew should be back. Jack's setup should be done. Producer Zach's got his shelves in. I don't know. Hopefully I get my shelves soon because Can
you get a light maybe?
Well, I have a light. I mean, if the light were off right now, it'd be disastrous. So I do need to work on the lighting though. Right now it looks like I'm at a campfire telling a ghost story. So I'll work to improve that. I also could just raise the blinds. Maybe that would be good. All right.
Well, Paul, I want you to keep this setup for the next time the Minnesota Vikings blow a huge lead and Kyler Murray looks terrible because that setup looks perfect for that.
This is the perfect depressed one. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll wrap it up there. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in.